Throughout my career, and recently after my appointment to Chief of Police, I've always looked for ways to improve our level of trust with the community and also to create more positive interactions with the public. We look across the country today and we see that there's great need for a change in the way that we police and with that interaction that we have. So a little bit of background. Historically, police departments use several measures to predict their success or to show their success. Some of those are the Universal Crime Report, which captures the number of serious crimes that have happened in the community. It's reported to the federal government. If you drive the numbers down, you're successful. We measure the call answering time for our dispatchers, their handling time, and we also measure the response time for our officers getting to the scene of the crime. There's potential for flaw in those measurements though, and that potential is that you really need the crime to occur and then you need your cops to drive really fast to get there in order to declare yourself safe and to have a successful police department. We're no different. We've measured those forever here in Napa, but we think that it's time that we create change. We need to change from the crime-centric measurements that we use to more of a neighborhood-based policing model. The measurements help establish funding from the federal government for community policing programs to get put in place. Community policing is great. It generally means that you get a certain number of officers in your department who get assigned to interact with the public, to deal with quality of life issues, and to handle public relations needs with them. That's great, but what it does is it creates a small group of officers it's their responsibility to do those acts, and we're looking at it and we're saying that what we really need is to make a philosophical change in our department, and we need to have our entire department act as ambassadors into the community. So with the community-oriented policing being just a few officers, if we can move it to, and we're in the process of that, creating the entire department having buy-in to wanting to provide policing services. And policing services mean quality of life, community caretaking, versus law enforcement, which is writing tickets and arresting people. So we're in the process of making those changes. How do we do that? Well, a couple years ago, we put a survey out to the community. We asked what the interests were in given neighborhoods. We took the information and we divided Napa into 26 identified neighborhoods. Many of those were identified by the community members in those areas. Some are historical in that they were housing projects that were put in many years ago, such as Coventry Manor, the Browns Valley area. We put those in place, and then we started doing community meetings. We would take our survey information, we would take our members of our command staff as well as officers, we would go out into the neighborhoods and we would ask people, what is it you want to see from your police department? We're really striving to do more of a customized approach to how we provide law enforcement services, the policing services for the community. Because you really can't apply the same needs or the service to the Imola area as you do out in Browns Valley. They're two entirely different neighborhoods. They have different needs, different interests. The same is true with Old Town or with North Napa. There's a lot of differences in what they want. There's some consistent things, but there are a lot of differences, and we want to customize that approach, give our community what they need. The purpose behind this is we really need to build trust with our community. We really need to get to the point where we have more interaction. We need to have more positive interaction with our community. I think we do a very good job as it is now, but not all contacts are positive, so we want to increase that. We have put mechanisms in place already that have helped us in those areas. Some of those are, we do some less traditional methods in our department. We have a homeless outreach program. We have a lot of people who are in town who can't afford a place to live. So we have a group of people, civilian employees, who go out, they contact our homeless. If the person needs a driver's license so they can get a job, or if they need to apply for SSI benefits, whatever they need, if they need Section 8 housing, that group of people helps those individuals and their homelessness so that they're less vulnerable, they're less susceptible to becoming victims or having to resort to crime to fulfill their needs. Another area that we have addressed is we have a diversion program in our department. It's a youth diversion program. We have a contract employee from a private group who comes in, and she does a lot of work with juveniles to make sure that they don't, as young people, they don't end up with a criminal record that's going to follow them in life and is going to preclude them from being successful. So we take as many of those cases as we can. We try to divert them out of the criminal justice system. We try to provide help for people instead of just holding them to in the criminal justice system. Another area that we've started recently is, and this is with help from the county's Health and Human Services, is that we have a mental health worker who has a drug and alcohol background who's embedded in our department for 20 hours a week. She helps us with people with mental health issues as they're emerging, instead of waiting for those people to commit some sort of act that then forces them into the criminal justice system. Our goal, our intent is to help people as much as we possibly can. That's our focus. We're also using a lot more social media to try to get in touch with people. I'm sure that a lot of you have seen our messages that come out either in Nixle, on Facebook, on Twitter. We're trying to use those. But our real focus is trying to reconnect with the community, have those positive interactions, work closely, customize that service, and give what I truly believe Napa wants to maintain the high quality of life issue here, and that is that positive interaction, the policing instead of law enforcement. Why Napa? I think Napa is an ideal spot for it because through the years, we've hired very good quality people for our department. We are very selective in who gets hired. We want to make sure that they're a fit for our agency and that we are a fit for them. We want to make sure that they understand what it is that the community expects from them. We want them to provide that service. That's not to say that we're not going to do law enforcement work, because we're going to continue to do that. But it's really reaching out, becoming a part of the community, having a deeper understanding of what the neighborhoods and what individuals in this community want, and working toward that. So the other thing that we have is we have a very engaged community, we have a very caring community, we have a very giving community. And with the help from the community here, and with the talent that we have in the police department, I truly believe that we can get to a place where we provide you the service that you expect from your police department. Thank you.